Hi there, this week's guest is known as the original Harry Potter, the guardian of North Devon pottery. My guest is Harry Juniper. Harry, thank you so much for talking to me today. I want you to tell everyone a little bit about yourself from the beginning.
I was evacuated to North Devon in 1940 with my brother. I was 7, he was 5. We were evacuated to a very elderly couple. He was a retired carpenter, and they had no children, and I believe they spoiled us rotten.
Of course, for those that don't know, that was during the war.
That's
so you
right.
were evacuated.
That was the worst time of the war.
The worst. So around the 1940s, was
Yeah.
it, during the bombings,
Yeah.
during the war?
To school in Torrington, spent my formative years in Torrington,
Okay.
and then went to the local art school in Bideford, where I was influenced by a very famous teacher there, and it got me into pottery.
And I heard that you sold your first piece of pottery in 1948 for 3 guineas.
3 guineas.
That was a lot of money then, wasn't it?
Well, I was given a cheque, and my parents had never used the bank before, and we had to take this 3 guineas cheque to the bank and get the money. And the bank manager said to me, "My goodness, you're lucky."
So that was 1948, and
That's
this
right.
is 2023. How many years have you been making pottery?
I'm in my 76th year now, well into my 76th year.
And no sign of slowing down, Harry.
No, I don't think so. I've been very lucky.
Tell me, what is your inspiration behind your beautiful pieces?
Inspiration's all around me. Heartland, mermaids, the sea, the Tarka Trail, anything to do with agriculture. It's all here. I don't have to go anywhere.
And I heard that you made special collections as well, including one based on Dad's Army.
Yes, that's one of my favourite programmes.
And
To commemorate as many things as I can locally. In Torrington, there's a group of young lads who call themselves the Cavaliers, who do work for charity, and they held the record for the putting live ferrets in their trousers. There were 6 men who tied up the bottoms of their trousers with string and put a male and a female ferret in. And I made this jug. It would have been in the 50s, I think. It's now found its way into Appledore Museum.
And we don't recommend you try this at home.
No.
83. Where do you get the clay?
Well, the clay was at the time local.
Okay.
The brown clay was from Fremington, which is about 6 miles away, and the white clay come from Torrington, which is about 8 miles away.
Okay, so you're using local clay to make the pottery.
I make the pot in brown earthenware clay, and then I coat it with an end globe of white clay, which is a secondary ball clay. And when the pot is touched dry, I can then scratch through into the brown a technique called sgraffito.
Okay, and that of course is a technique that goes back to the 16th century, is that right?
Yes, probably before that in Italy. It's an Italian word, I believe.
Okay, so it's an Italian technique.
Yeah.
That was it used in Britain in the 16th century as well? It
Yeah.
was. And that is the technique you use now for your pottery.
I think it was brought over by the Huguenots.
Okay.
They would have come over in the 16th century.
Okay. And tell me, have you had any famous customers or famous commissions over the years?
Yes. I've made pots for the King.
The King?
Who was Prince Charles.
So you've made a pot for King Charles.
Yeah. The Bishop of London has been a very generous customer. He's ordered lots of stuff.
Okay, so the Bishop of London owns
Film
your
stars,
pieces.
all sorts of people. I can't remember who they are.
I have to buy myself one to take home to Ireland with
Well,
me.
I should say.
You got a following now in Ireland. And of course, Harry, you've no sign of slowing down.
Well, I hope not. 'Cause, I'm feeling pretty good at the moment.
So you're here every day in
Yes,
your pottery
every day.
shop.
Yeah.
And you've got the shop here that we're in.
Yeah.
And then you have another shop
Yes,
downtown.
which my daughter runs. Yeah.
Okay, brought into the business family members.
Yes, my son and daughter.
Your son and daughter.
Which was the thing that pleased me most of all, really.
And what are their names?
Susan and Nicholas.
So they're now involved with you, because I know that you've been featured in many, many films and in TV and in documentaries and in magazines. And he's very modest because there's also a book and a DVD about you. Tell me a little bit about the films you've been featured in.
Well, the first one was from the BBC for a programme called Inside Out. And it was about declining industries. And they came along and filmed it. And I managed to ask them for the film, which I use if I give a talk. But since then, I've got 7 other films.
Okay.
Country File and ITV, I've been up here and filmed. Yeah.
So I'm very lucky to be here. I'm walking in the footsteps.
Oh, absolutely.
Harry, of course, you're an artist. So you're
well,
fundamentally
I did find
an artist.
art, yeah.
Yeah.
To be called an artist is very flattering. People call themselves artists, but you can't do that.
Well, you are an artist. And, you know, we're looking at your pottery here. We're looking at some more kind of what I would call Art Deco inspired pottery. But you also do painting.
You've got to sound as if you've got an American accent. Have you?
No, it's the west coast of Ireland.
It is, yeah.
With too much Dallas growing up as a child.
Have you been to Clovelly?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, Clovelly is owned by one family.
Ross.
Hey?
Rhodes.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Well, he was a colonel in the Coldstream Guards. On his 70th birthday, this is years ago now, they had the band of the Coldstream Guards down there beating retreat. And you can imagine on a September evening, not a lot of people there, the full band in all their regalia going up and down beating retreat. And I thought, Christ, what a subject. And I come back and I did this jug, and I did it in a very simple style, as you can see, almost cartoonish.
Yes.
And it was bought by this elderly lady I was telling you about. And when she died, she bequeathed it back. It's in the Burton Gallery.
That's fascinating.
It's my favourite jug.
That's fascinating. And I want particularly, Harry, to talk about this piece that commemorates the abolition of slavery.
I think about 4 years ago, they were talking about the anniversary of the abolition of slavery. And I was listening to this on the wireless, and I thought, oh, that's a good subject. And I did this jug. I've made 3 altogether. I put the police guard, and the figures being beaten, and this little thing I think was done by Wedgwood as a plaque.
Am I not a man and a brother? Yes.
And I sign them always, and they are chained together. This is the slave ship. And it was a nice subject.
And December 1805, of course, that was the official abolition of slavery.
If you just look in the book, you'll see what other subjects I've taken on. Was a family tree is one of the most popular.
Okay.
I mean, this is what I make all the time for golden weddings. This and the Cavaliers also. That was a nice jug I liked. That was
Henry
VIII. Bringing it up.
Bringing up the Mary Rose.
Yes,
I remember that. I think we all remember that.
The Cavaliers reenacted the story of Lady Godiva.
Okay.
And half the town were for it, and the other half were against it. But they persuaded this girl. They got a stripper from Bournemouth to sit up on on this horse. I didn't have a camera, but I went rushing up, got my drawing book out, and I did this.
Of course, Lady Godiva, for those who don't remember or know, rode through the town naked on a horse.
My political jug.
Does that still happen now, Harry?
There's a John Major jug.
Ah, my goodness.
And,
so you've been influenced by political figures as well.
There's Margaret Thatcher here somewhere.
So we have John Major, Margaret Thatcher. You don't have any of Boris Johnson, do you?
Yeah, oh yes, yes, I've got no photographs of him because he's new. Boris Johnson, yes, he's a gift. I've done the Brexit jug. I've done about 5 copies of that. the Brexit jug. When he was stabbed in the back by Gove. Yes, they've all sold. I don't keep them. You know, they've all gone.
I'm sure Boris is delighted to know that he is inspiring art.
He's so easy to draw, isn't he?
Everyone at home this Sunday looking for perhaps some inspiration or some get up and go. Harry was born in
1933.
1933, and he gets up and lives life, creates, is happy to see every single day in.
Yeah.
And you're 90 years young, Harry, is that right?
That's right.
Belated happy birthday.
Oh, good.
Harry, I remember meeting you when I first visited Bideford about 2 months ago. And I think I talked about you solidly to Paul for about 2 months afterwards. So I was inspired by your get up and go, your love of life and your own story. So I just want to say from me to you, thanks a million for talking to me
You're
today,
very
Harry.
kind.
I'm very grateful for it.
Thank you very much.
And for being my guest on Sunday Girl. It means a lot to me. And Harry and I wish you all a wonderful week.